we're ready to roll. Everybody ready? No, not yet? Okay. Okay, well, I will call this meeting to order. Good evening and welcome to the January 24th, 2020 City of Hollister Planning Commission meeting. The first item on the agenda is election of officers. I do have a nomination that I'd like to share with you. I'd like to nominate Seth Munzer to be chairman. Seth?
Thank you. Do I accept the nomination?
Okay,
Yes.
great.
Yes, I'll accept it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Guess we switch chairs.
Does it need to go on a vote on that?
I'm sorry. Do we need a vote on that?
Yeah,
I think we do, right?
I believe so. I
We
believe
should
that's
have a vote on that.
Okay.
a
Yeah.
second and
We have to do a second to it?
yeah.
I'll
My
second the
understanding is
nomination.
okay,
Seconded nomination, of course.
and then the vote. Yes.
And so we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations to Seth Munzer
Thank you.
as our official chairman of the City of Hollister Planning Commission.
Yeah.
And I'd just like to thank everyone during my tenure as chairman. We've been through some, I think, a fairly smooth road. We had some contentious projects, but we made through it all right, and I really appreciate us all working together. And I think we have a really good commission here.
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to say.
Yes.
Did I just hand half of yours away?
No. You're good.
All right, well, thank you for the nomination for chair. I guess we need to nominate vice chair.
You got it.
Does the chair nominate for vice chair, or is there
It's open. It's open for nominations.
is there any nominations for vice chair?
Is there any interest, who's interested, I guess, is that something that we would ask of who's interested in being vice chairman?
You may.
Or, I've never done this part, so this is.
You
what
may.
I'm-
You may, or if anybody just wants to nominate.
I'll throw my hat in there if you want. No?
I was gonna nominate, Mr. David Huboy over here for vice chair.
Okay.
Okay. Got it.
I'll second that nomination. I'll second the motion.
We got a motion and a second for Hugh Boy for vice chair. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Well, congratulations on vice chair.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Seth. Appreciate it. I appreciate the vote of nomination from my fellow commissioners. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to verification of agenda posting.
Yes, Chairperson Munzer, the agenda was posted on January 17th, 2020 at 6:55 p.m.
Thank you. And Commissioner Johnson, do you want to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can we have the roll call?
Sure. Commissioner Huboy,
Present.
Commissioner Stevens,
Present.
Chairperson Munzer,
Here.
Commissioner Johnson,
Here.
and Commissioner Henderson has an excused absence.
Thank you. Did everybody have a chance to take a look at the minutes from the last meeting? And if we are okay with the minutes, so can we have a nomination of approval?
I'll make the motion for approval, Mr. Chair.
Second?
So I wasn't here at our last meeting, so I don't think I should vote on
You can
it.
abstain.
So I will abstain.
Very well.
I'll
Yes,
second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. In regards to communications from the public on items not listed on the agenda, this is time for anyone in the audience to speak on any items not on the agenda and within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. When the Planning Commission calls your name, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and speak to the commission. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. Please note that state law prohibits the planning commission from discussing or taking action on any items not on the agenda. Do we have any speaker cards for items not on the agenda?
We do not have any speaker cards,
Is that period?
period.
Thank you. Moving on to public hearings. First item on the agenda is minor subdivision 2019-4. Steph?
Thank you. Staff is requesting that, sorry, let me go back to the beginning here. The City of Hollister Development Services Department received a minor subdivision application requesting to divide a 1.55 acre into a 2-parcel lot. They're proposing parcel A will be 0.52 acres and proposing a second lot, which is known as parcel B, and that will be 1.03 acres. This project is located at 350 Felice Drive on the northwest corner of 4th Street and Felice Drive within the West Gateway zoning district. Staff is recommending that this item be continued and that the Planning Commission take the following items. 1, opening up the public hearing and receiving public comment, and the second, keep the public hearing open and continue the public hearing for the minor subdivision 2019-4 to the regularly scheduled meeting of February 27th, 2020.
Thank you, Amber. Okay, we will go ahead and open up the public hearing at this time at 6:09. Do we have any?
We do not.
Thank you. Okay, we will keep the public hearing open and bring this back to vote to continue this item.
Mr. Chair, I believe we need to vote on continuing the item to the next planning commission. Is that
Correct.
There should be a vote to continue the item.
Is there a motion to continue this?
I'll make the motion to continue this item to the date on February 27th.
Correct. There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor of continuing this item and keeping the public hearing open?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. It has passed. Moving on to item number 2, minor subdivision 2020-1 and site and architectural review number 2019-19.
Mr. Chair, before we have the staff report, I need to recuse myself on item number 2 because the item was, the architectural services came from Hugh Boy Architecture, so therefore I recuse myself due to conflict of interest. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hubo. Staff report?
Alrighty, thank you. This item before you is a minor subdivision and a site and architectural review. The applicant is requesting approval of the minor subdivision to divide a 3.29 acre parcel into 3 smaller lots, as well as approval of site and architectural review to construct one 15,000 square foot industrial warehouse hangar building and one 11,250 square foot industrial warehouse hangar building. The property is located at 1961 Airway Drive, and it is in the Airport Support Zoning District. At the regular meeting of June 28th, 2018, the Planning Commission adopted Resolution 2018-33, which approved Site and Architectural Review 2018-8 for the construction of one 15,000 square foot warehouse building on the northern end of the subject site. And this project that is before you tonight constitutes the second phase of the project, including dividing the parcel as mentioned and constructing 2 additional buildings on the newly created lots, which are identified as parcels 1 and 2 in the plans and on your screen. The previously approved building will be located on parcel 3, which is 1.29 acres. And then the proposed 15,000 square foot building will be located on parcel 1 at the southern end of the site. and that parcel will be 1 acre in size, and the 11,200 square foot or 250 square foot building will be located on parcel 2, which is also proposed to be 1 acre in size. And all 3 buildings and parcels will have a shared 24-foot access driveway on the west end of the lot, which has access off of Airway Drive. And it has an approximately 370-foot asphalt driveway providing access to each parcel's parking lot. There will also be a common yard area along the eastern side of the property, which ranges from about 85 feet to about 97 feet in width. And the common yard area allows for future access, which would be under a separate permit from each of the proposed hangar buildings to the City of Hollister Airport. And should a future tenant wish to store a plane in either building, and they can apply for a permit to have direct access to our airport. On your screen, this is the floor plan of Building 1. Both of the proposed buildings will be constructed out of stucco facade, and they'll have a pre-finished metal roof. But each building will have an interior mezzanine area above the main entrance, with the main first floor being open for warehousing and or hangar space. So you can see the mezzanine is above the entry on Building 1, and then Building 2, the mezzanine is also above the entry. The southern elevation of Building 1, which is at the top of your screen, will face Airway Drive, and this elevation will have a stucco finish with an 8-foot tall stone veneer base, which wraps around the entire building. And there will also be a 12-inch horizontal panel reveal, which wraps around the entire building and provides a separation of the wall space. The roof line will have a parapet with a trim, which matches the wall color. And there's location for future signage above the main entrance trellis feature on this building. And so that main entrance is on the western elevation, which is at the bottom of your screen. And this faces the main shared driveway access road for the building. And it will have the main storefront entrance, which again has a trellis, which is supported by stucco column features. There will be 3 sets of windows along with the main entrance on the first story, and 4 complementary sets of windows on the second story where the mezzanine is. The northern elevation, again at the top of your screen, will have 2 man doors on the western side and a 100-foot by 20-foot bifold door. Did I put the wrong? I think I put the wrong one on my PowerPoint, but it's a big bifold door that can access the driveway or the common yard. And then the eastern elevation will have a 1-man door on its southern side. And again, all sides have the stone veneer. Building 2, which is on parcel 2 in the middle of the parcel, will have similar stucco and veneer features as the first building to complement and provide a cohesive look for the complex. And this building has its main entrance along the southern elevation with just 2 sets of windows and the main entrance on the first floor, and again, complementary windows on the second floor from the interior mezzanine. And this building will have 2-man doors on the southern side of the western elevation, so western elevation on the bottom of your screen. And then they'll have another man door on the northern elevation, and then the eastern elevation will face the paved common yard area, and this will also have a 100-foot by 20-foot bifold door and an additional standard roll-up door. So if I had put the correct elevation, there's a door like this on the other building as well. So the project for parking is proposing 20 parking stalls on parcel 1 and an additional 22 parking stalls on parcel 2, which is a total of 42 parking, including 3 ADA parking spaces. And each of the 3 parcels and buildings will have reciprocal parking agreement across them, so they can park in any parking lot if necessary. And the parking requirement for warehouse buildings is 1 space per 1,000 square feet of gross floor area and 1 space for any company vehicles. And the applicant's proposing 26,250 square feet of warehouse space with the 2 buildings, and so they're required 26 parking spaces. They're meeting and exceeding that with the 42 proposed. And in addition, it was noted that each of the parking areas will be gated off from the common yard, but if it's ever necessary for more parking, they can have employees or any company vehicles parked back in the common yard area as well. So there's plenty of parking space proposed. There is going to be 14,315 square feet of landscaping across the entire project site, and that is equal to 10% of the total lot area, the 3.29 acres, and 10% is our minimum landscaping requirement. It does not meet, we'll note that it does not meet the 10% on each lot. However, because it's located in the airport support, staff is supportive of meeting 10% overall as if they weren't dividing, because in the airport zone and close to the airport, you don't want to create habitat space for animals or any birds or things like that that could get in the way of planes. So they're meeting it overall. When they divide it, they technically aren't meeting it on parcels 2 and 3, and they're exceeding on parcel 1. But they're meeting our industrial standards on Airway Drive with the 35-foot landscaping and focusing landscaping to public access ways and still meeting overall. And then for some information on the CEQA, this property is located in the Hollister Air Park Business Park subdivision, and there was a mitigated neg deck adopted for this back in, I believe, 2000. And the project doesn't require modifications to the study, and so mitigation measures that are applicable have been included in the conditions of approval for this project. With that, staff recommends that the Planning Commission review the applicant's request, receive all written and oral testimony regarding the proposal, and make the following 2 motions. First, adopt a resolution approving minor subdivision 2020-1, subject to the findings and conditions contained in the draft resolution. And secondly, adopt a resolution approving site and architectural review 2019-19, again, subject to the findings and conditions contained in the draft resolution. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Thank you for the report. Any questions for staff?
Yeah, I have a question.
Mhm.
Is this project replacing something that is currently in use, or is this expanding so that they have more planes that can use the hangars?
It's expanding. So there was the building proposed here on parcel 3 was approved, and it is under construction currently. So the lot is vacant, but parcel 3 is under construction, that previous approval. And now the applicant is coming back to finish their kind of phasing of the project. So it'll be a total of 3 buildings and 3 lots. So they can be owned by the same person or they can be individually sold. And then they are all hangar buildings, so depending on what tenants want to come in, they'll all have the ability to have planes and direct access if they so wish, or they can function as warehousing buildings for whatever business might come in or tenant.
And then with that, because there wasn't anything in the report about traffic or anything, I'm assuming that because it's used primarily for hangar space, that there isn't an anticipation that there's going to be any major increase in traffic in that area? Or is there some other information related to that that you can offer?
Right. So the mitigated negative deck, there was Airway Drive, so the entire Airway Drive kind of subdivision complex was evaluated under CEQA for traffic and bio mitigations and things like that back when that environmental report was adopted, and it evaluated building out all of the lots and what impacts all of the lots being built out would have. So this is part of that, and that CEQA covers. So any of the mitigation measures that were required back then, I know there were some for like stormwater. So there's a stormwater pond located to the west end of the subdivision, and that collects most of the drainage for the entire subdivision. So a lot of the things that happened when the subdivision was built and when Airway Drive was constructed are handling the effects. But regardless, building out the entire area has been evaluated.
Great, thank you. In regards to the site and architectural design for the airport commission? Does it have to go before them for any approval?
Yes, it will.
Okay, great, thank you. Any other questions for staff? Okay, at this time, we'll go ahead and open up for public. Is there any speaker cards?
No speaker cards.
We'll note that the public hearing was opened at 6:21 and is also being closed at 6:21. Okay. Any other discussion regarding this item? What is the pleasure of the commission on this? Actually, PC resolution numbers?
Will be 2020-1 and 2.
Two separate motions?
2 separate motions, please.
Can I just ask, I should know this, but I don't. Do we have a quorum with just the 3 of us?
Yes, you do.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a motion to?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to adopt a resolution approving the minor subdivision 2020-1, subject to the findings and conditions contained in the draft resolution.
There's a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
PC resolution 2020-1 is approved. Moving on to second resolution.
I'll go ahead and make the motion to adopt a resolution approving site and architectural review 2019-19, subject to the findings and conditions contained in the draft resolution.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Do we need to say the 2020-2, or did you say it and I just missed?
It will be resolution 2020-2.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, congratulations on that item. We'll go ahead and get Mr. Huboy back.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 3, amendments to the approved tentative map number 2018-4. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chair, I need to disclose that I did have a meeting with Ann Hall, who represents the applicant on this item yesterday. It's just for information only.
Thank you for
I
disclosing.
too need to disclose that I had a meeting with Ms. Ann Hall today. Same thing, information only.
And so
Thank
did
you.
I.
Great, thank you. And the staff report?
Thank you. The applicant is requesting to amend conditions of approval of the Planning Commission Resolution number 2019-3 for tentative map application 2018-4 approved by the City of Hollister's Planning Commission at its regular meeting of January 24th, 2019. The approval consists of subdividing 3 parcels that contain 207.65 acres in total. 60 lots ranging in size from 1.68 acres to 11.3 acres. Just a heads up, the way we broke down this staff report is I'll be telling you what we did in a brief discussion, and then what you'll see on the screen will be the track changes. So things in red are what have been taken out, what's in blue is what's been added. And if you have any questions along the way, please feel free to ask. Okay. The following amendments have been made to the previously approved conditions of PC Resolution 2019-3. Condition 11A2, the minimum roadway footage has been changed to be consistent with the current City of Hollister's engineering standards. All road access shall consist of a minimum of 72 feet right-of-way with a curb-to-curb width or 52 feet minimum with curb, gutter, sidewalk, and landscaping along either side. In addition, subsections 4, Burt Drive improvements, and section 5, vesting tentative map D Road have been modified as follows. 1, the previous conditions indicate that a roundabout shall be constructed at the intersection of both roads and San Felipe. And a new condition shall replace roundabout with the word intersection. Sec-
Amber, I'm sorry, on the, I just want to make sure that I understand the condition 11 on the 72 width. So it's 72, the right-of-way is the area of improvements, includes the curb, gutter, and sidewalk. And then it says, or 52 feet, would that be to curb width? I mean, you're saying the same thing, right? I just want to make sure I understand the wording correctly.
Yeah, we'll defer it to the city engineer.
Okay.
Yeah, the 72-foot right-of-way, what that accommodates is a 52-foot curb to curb. It
Right.
means for the landscape strips on both sides plus the sidewalk.
Okay. So it's either 52 plus
The 52-foot curb to curb.
or 72 includes all the landscaping and the sidewalk and all that. Okay, just wanted to make sure I understand that. Thank you.
Um,
Wasn't quite clear on the wording.
The previous condition of approval references a now expired site and architectural approval. This has been removed. 3, the new conditions will require an intersection control evaluation study for San Felipe Road intersections, and the results, which will be used in conjunction with the previous adopted traffic study to determine the ultimate intersection improvements. Condition 16, temporary barricades. Language was added to specify what length of temporary streets less than 500 or 150 feet ending at the property lines would be required to be barricaded in accordance with the city. Language was added that the streets that are longer than 150 feet in length shall have fire department turnarounds. Condition 20, post-construction stormwater control plans, also known as SWCP. Language was added to reference the Regional Stormwater Quality Control Board Resolution Number R3-013-0032. Condition 25, stormwater and grading permit. Language was added, the WDD number to the title sheet of the plans permitting grading will be required. Condition 26, initial final map improvement plan submittal A was modified to require that the subdivider include design reports and complete city checklist in their initial submittal of improvement plans. Condition 28, water line improvements. Language was added so that any offsite water lines necessary to be installed under proposed pavements shall be installed at the time of the roadway improvements would be the sole expense of the developer. Condition 30, public utilities and tree planting easements. The utility easement dedication was changed from 6 feet to 10 feet. Condition 31, sidewalk and utility easement was removed in its entirety as it conflicted with previous condition 30. Condition 32, easements, the word sidewalk was removed from the condition. Condition 35, improvements prior to occupancy was modified to read that all improvements shall be installed as shown on the improvement plans for review and approval by the city engineer and fire marshal to assure adequate access for emergency response vehicles and after suppression. Condition 59, pipes in public roads. Language was added that storm drains would be maintained privately. Condition 60, drainage. Language was added that all drainage shall be supported by design reports. Condition 66, airport lift station. Language that made all the costs of the airport sanitary sewer lift station improvement and upgrade of the applicant be the sole responsibility has been removed. This includes language that indicates that any cost sharing or reimbursement for cost for any of the improvements installed by the applicant shall be between the applicant and the buyers of the property and not between the applicant and the city of Hollister, as well as language that states that the city of Hollister bears no responsibility in any cost sharing or reimbursement for any improvements. The condition now reads that all costs of the airport sanitary sewer lift station improvement and upgrade shall be reimbursed by the city less the project's fair share. And lastly, condition,
If we can go back to that condition, we might need to make a minor edit to that. Where, the sentence that says shall be reimbursed by, the city less, project's fair share. We need to, remove shall and replace it with may. That would have to go to city council for, approval, and instead of, it, being mandatory, it, could, require a city council.
condition 67, deceleration and acceleration lanes. Language has been modified so that the city, at the applicant's sole expense, may hire a traffic engineer to prepare an intersection control evaluation for all intersections. And with this, staff recommends that the Planning Commission review the applicant's request, receive all written and oral testimony regarding the proposal, and consider adopting a resolution amending the conditions of the previously approved tentative map 2018-4, subject to the draft resolutions. Are there any questions for staff? The applicant and the applicant's engineer are also here if you have any questions for them.
Great, thank you, Amber. Any questions for staff? Okay, if we have no questions for staff, we'll go ahead and open it up for public hearing.
Well, actually, yeah, I do have a question.
Commissioner Stevens, yes, go ahead.
I just want to get clear about the intersection control evaluation. Will that consider all possible options for that intersection, or is it simply to, I guess to determine that the current plan is okay?
Yes, there has been an evaluation that was done with the EIR. And what this is doing is allowing, a further evaluation to take a look at the intersection control and make a recommendation.
Essentially, a traffic scientist is going to, evaluate this intersection to say, hey, you know what, a roundabout is the best way to control the intersection, or a traffic signal. So it's giving an opportunity for an outside consultant to kind of really truly evaluate that intersection to make sure that we're getting the highest level of service and the safest intersection we can. So it's unknown at this time until that ICE evaluation, the intersection control evaluation is done. So.
And when an evaluation like that is requested, is there, like a problem or a goal that is given to the evaluator as a way to help them with the evaluation? So, for example, is a question posed to that evaluator or problem posed to the evaluator to say, this is the problem that we're trying to solve in that intersection, or this is the goal that we want to accomplish as a city, and base your evaluation around that? Or is there a general evaluation that occurs?
Well, there's an evaluation that is based on traffic projections. In terms of goals for the city has adopted a roundabout policy.
Right.
So that's a city policy that I think that would be separate and apart from the ICE or the intersection control evaluation. The intersection control evaluation is going to take a look at a traffic signal versus a roundabout and make a preferred recommendation based on that. But in terms of the city's policy, the city has adopted what they feel would be the preferred option of a roundabout.
Okay.
Yeah, Commissioner Stevens, I appreciate your your interest in this question, because it's important. We all know that traffic's important. Being able to get people safely through intersections. Intersections are scored on an A to F rating. So A is the best, F is the worst. A lot of our intersections in Hollister are actually at a C level of service. And so what we want to do is when new projects come into the community, we want to try to get a level of A service if possible all the time. And so this ICE evaluation will study the intersection, take the traffic counts, study the geometry of the intersection, and really come back to us and say, you know, maybe we think this is better controlled as a stoplight. We as planners and engineers always like roundabouts because they don't cost the city anything once they're built, right? There's no outages, people don't hit them, they're safer, and they control traffic a little bit better. So, but we do want to have this ICE evaluation to really tell us and tell the applicant and the city how this intersection should be controlled.
Yeah, and then, when you just said that they are safer, I'm imagining that there are instances where maybe they're not safer. So I think that is something that we want to make sure that we know in the evaluation. Yep. Also, it may be safer and maybe be like, 0.1% safer than it was before. So we want to know that, like how much safer, and is it really necessary? So I think that's what was my concern, is that I want to make sure that, because I do know that there is, this push for roundabouts, and it makes sense for certain areas, but I don't want us to do them simply because there's a push for it, but really because it is the best option for that area and for that intersection, considering safety and other things, traffic control, but also that, that it's reasonable, right?
Yeah.
So if it's going to make it 0.0001% safer, then, is that really important for that area?
Yeah.
So anyway, I just want to make sure that there is a full evaluation, that all the options are considered,
Yeah.
that we're solving the problem that we really want to solve, not simply just, meet the whatever policy's been set by the city, but really that it's effective for that area.
Oh, absolutely. And the traffic scientist is actually going to place his or her seal on that document to say, this is really how the intersection should be controlled.
Sure.
And keep in mind, one thing we always have to be cognizant about is we have a lot of cars in this state, a lot of pollution. Roundabouts help us decrease greenhouse gases. So when we stop at a stoplight, that's not helping our air quality, right? So that's also something we as a society in California need to look at too when moving forward with developing this state, is getting away from idling cars and idling vehicles. So just something else to think about. The Monterey Bay Air Resource District has a lot of great research and information on roundabouts and stoplights, and they were very supportive of the city council when the roundabout policy was adopted. So just food for thought, and
And then just one quick other question or comment, I'm not sure what it is, it's both, I guess. In that evaluation, I'm assuming that they will also give information about the different types of vehicles that will, so I think that we can anticipate that there will be more larger vehicles, maybe semis, as opposed to like if they were looking at something that was more like inside the city, a little closer to the center city, right? And then will that information be included, and how will that impact the safety and, the air emissions if you have those types of vehicles versus like just regular cars?
Yeah, exactly. One of the aspects of the study, they'll be talking to the applicant, say, what will the use be here? And so the use will be an industrial type use, right? It's an industrial park, so a lot of trucks, vehicles like that, and so all that stuff goes into this analysis to make sure that it's really the safest way to control that intersection. So
Okay, and then I did say that was my last one, but actually I have one more, and this will be my last one.
we're here all night.
When can we anticipate that evaluation will be completed?
I don't know, probably 30 to 45 days after funding of it.
I would, yeah, and sometimes it takes 45 days to study a small residential intersection to see if a stop sign warrant is necessary. So, I would say 60 days sometimes. It depends on, their study. But they will have to do some analysis of current trends on traffic on that road and all that kind of stuff.
So I'm glad that that you told me that, because I think that one of the things that I would like is to ask that there be some, that this be like a priority, just simply because I think that this project has been, around for a while, and it's a really good project, and we want to have things move along as quickly as possible. So I don't know how we can make this more of a priority for the person, the entity that's doing the evaluation. But if there's any way to include that in, during the work of the evaluations, to ask that it be a priority, I think that is important, and I would ask that we do that.
Duly noted.
Thank you. And that is my last comment.
Mr. Chair, I appreciate Roxanne's comment, and I just want to share with you is that in the architectural process of doing a project, we define it as a problem. What is it? It's called programming. In the case of roundabouts, a lot of the, to decide whether or not a roundabout is good for this intersection or not good for that intersection, you take into account the history of traffic accidents in that area, the nature of the intersection, the width of the, if it's a 2-lane road, a 4-lane road, the types of vehicles that travel there, because as you say, if it's industrial, large vehicles, you have to have larger turning radiuses. Yep. So, all that, I did some research on roundabouts, because we find a lot of roundabouts in certain areas of the country and in Europe, and you kind of wonder what's the benefit of a roundabout. And a lot of it is because it does minimize accidents, studies have shown. But it depends on the site specifics too, and so the traffic study, I'm sure, will take into account not only the site specifics, but the history of that area and in terms of accidents and as a problem-solving solution,
Absolutely.
if that is the way to go.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Just comments.
Any other questions for staff? Sorry, any other questions for staff? Okay, we'll go ahead and open it up to a public hearing at 6:44. Any speaker cards?
I think Ms. Hall will be able to fill a speaker card out for us. Do you promise? All right.
Good evening, Planning Commission. I am Ann Hall. I am here as an engineer representing Mr. Nguyen, who is also here. And we did request some changes to the original approval, and I think staff has gone over those pretty well. But 2 items specific. The items we requested some reconsideration on is the one you've been talking about, which is the roundabout, the intersection versus roundabout, the option to look at, see what is the best fit here. I do understand the city has had passed a policy a few years ago stating a preference for roundabouts, but the city council has always also since then stated that maybe 2-lane high-speed roads are not the best place for roundabouts. So there's been some discussion. We'd like this analysis to determine what's going to be the best for what the situation is we have here, which I think is what is included in this condition. So that's good. And then the other one we had a question on was the airport lift station. And I have a question about your comment. You said the upgrade may be reimbursed, but you said it has to go to the city council.
Yes,
So
any reimbursement agreement that the city's gonna enter into, I don't think that we can do it here at the planning commission stage. That would have to go to the city council to have the agreement.
So do these conditions have to go to the city council? Or are you saying, I don't understand the logistics of what you're saying.
Yeah, Abraham, you might be able to speak about that a
Sure,
little bit.
sure. I believe that the determination, like if there is going to be a reimbursement agreement, then that that shall be approved by the city council. So if it is, then it would have to go to the city council, and the city council may say, yep, we will agree with that reimbursement, and we will do it. But
Yeah, since it's public funds being used to reimburse a public works project,
yes,
we would want to be able to take that to the council, Ms. Hall, and have them approve that so we can reimburse Mr. Wynn back.
Okay, so this approval would be tonight, and you're saying, and you're essentially saying that you recognize that there's some potential public works improvement associated with that. It's just the details of it would have to be finalized at the city council
Yeah.
after, as part of the improvement plans or something.
Yeah, because we'll have to, and correct me if I'm wrong, Danny, but we'll have to analyze, once we get to the improvement plan process, like you said, it may be a bigger project than we think, and so we need to understand that to be able to bring that to the city council. And it's conceptual right now, conceptual approval for that, but we'll need to then take that and bring it to the council for to craft a reimbursement agreement, so.
Well,
Yeah.
an agreement, it's a contract. We wouldn't approve a contract at the planning commission stage.
Okay, so, but this is conceptual acknowledgement of the fact that there's a portion of this that would be a public
Right.
works.
There's a condition there
Mhm.
that states that there may be an opportunity for reimbursement depending on the scope of the project. We will prepare a contract and take that to city council for consideration.
Okay. All right, then I guess I'm available if you have questions for myself or the applicant.
And you know what this is akin to? Is say that we have a sewer or water line that the city requests oversizing on. The oversizing has to go back to council for a reimbursement agreement.
Okay, all right. So that, I just want to know where in the process that is, but that would be as part of the improvement plans or during the improvement plan
Yes.
stage. Okay. All right, I think our questions have been answered in those two changes. Do you have any questions for us?
Any questions for the applicant from the commissioners?
Roxanne pretty much asked every question that I was gonna ask, so it
Good
worked out.
job with that. Thank you, Roxanne.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you.
If there's no other speakers on this item, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing at 6:48. Any discussions among the commissioners on this item?
I just would like to, I don't know if we need a discussion, if the other commissioners want to comment. I'm a little concerned about just how long this project has been around, because I know that my first meeting as a commissioner last year, this was one of the first things that we voted on, and we moved it forward. Here it is a year later. So I'm just a little concerned about that, and I want to just make a statement that I hope that we can do whatever we can to move this project forward, be as efficient as we can to avoid any delays, just because it just seems like it's been there for a while, and it seems like it's meeting a lot of the targets that the city is looking at, like economic development, potential for new jobs, minimal, traffic within the city, all of those things that I think are positives for Hollister. So I'm just asking that the staff be really, really vigilant around any potentials for delays, just so that we can just get this project moving forward as soon as possible.
Yeah, we actually had a grading permit ready for Mr. Wynn to pick up in March of 2019. And so we are ready to process things for this project. So, we are ready to work with him, so.
Any other
I
discussions or comments from the?
don't really have any comments. I'm in favor of moving forward with this project and the conditions and the amendments.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the commission on this?
We should close the public hearing.
6:48, it was closed.
From our city attorney engineer here.
we're good.
Yeah, it was closed. It was closed at 6:48.
Well, I'll make the motion that we go ahead and move this forward with this minor subdivision 2020-1, site and architectural review 2019-19, with the proposed amendments to the conditions, with the also with the edit of condition, including the edit of condition number 66, that will say that the lift station improvement and upgrade, instead of shall say may be reimbursed by the city, less the project's fair share. That is due to city council approval.
Yeah, that would be a good
Is this a
addition.
resolution number on this?
Yeah.
Resolution is 2020-3 for amendments to approve tentative map number 2018-4.
2020-3 with the amendments to approve tentative map
2018-4.
2018?
-4.
Okay,
Yeah.
that is my motion.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. The resolution has been adopted. Moving on to item number 4. Good luck with that project, Mr. Wynn. Thank you, Ann.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 4, amendments to chapter 17.20 signs of the Hollister Municipal Code.
Thank you. City staff is requesting to appeal and replace Chapter 17.20 signs to reorganize the chapter for clarity and ease of use and to include provisions which were recommended by the City of Hollister's Downtown Sign Ad Hoc Committee for Sign Regulations and the Downtown Mixed Use Zoning District. So we're going to break it down by some of the signs. If you guys, again, have any questions, please feel free. So the first one is going to be portable signs or A-frame signs. Currently, portable or A-frame signs are permitted without the requirement of any city permits on private property, provided that they do not exceed 12 square feet in total area and do not obstruct pathways, entrances, exits of any buildings, and comply with all ADA requirements. Portable signs are not permitted in the public right-of-way. Due to the build-out of downtown, there are not many businesses that have alcoves where they can place their portable signs on their private property. The ad hoc committee reviewed many various city ordinances and recommended to incorporate similar provisions as the city of Fort Collins, Colorado, to allow for a permitting process for portable signs placed in the public right-of-way. This process will be an administrative permit, which will permit a business to have an approval location to be placed a portable sign that is in the right-of-way in the downtown mixed-use zoning district. The applicant will submit a site plan showing the proposed location for review by the Development Services Department, including the Building and Engineering Departments, to determine if a portable sign can be permitted. The signs will need to be in compliance with ADA requirements and not obscure any public utilities, public transportation, etc. If an applicant is approved, they will be able to place the portable sign within the approved location freely, and the permit will need to be reviewed annually. Businesses and owners which are able to locate a sign on their private property may still do so under the current exemption. The new section of the code outlining this process and requirements can be found in 17.20.110C3 of Exhibit A of the attached resolution. In addition, the ad hoc committee recommended that the maximum sign height be changed to 4 feet rather than 3.5. This makes it sense because it allows the sign to be able to reach the maximum square footage of 12 square feet, which is currently permitted but not possible with a 3.5 foot height limit and a 3 foot width limit. The next is neon in downtown signs. The ad hoc sign committee recommends to the Planning Commission and the City Council that neon or neon type LED signs be permitted in the downtown mixed use zoning area. Currently, neon signs are not permitted in the home office district, residential, or mixed use zoning districts. The modification has been incorporated in section 17.20.110C1 of Exhibit A of the attached resolution. Neon signs are proposed to be permitted to be displayed from inside a building, for example, inside a window, by a admin sign permit review by the planning department in the downtown mixed-use zoning area. The ad hoc committee also recommends that the neon signs in the downtown mixed-use zoning area be permitted to be illuminated during business hours for the business that's holding that permit, to allow businesses such as bars, which are open past 10. There's currently a lights off time for signs in residential mixed-use zones that they should be able to keep their signage on during their open hours. Neon signage in the windows will continue to be counted as part of the overall 25% window coverage maximum. Are there any questions so far? Okay. Holiday promotional signs. The current ordinance allows businesses to receive up to 4 separate temporary use permits in a calendar year, each for up to 20 days. A banner or temporary sign. The ad hoc committee recommends including a new section of the code, section 17.20.060A30, to allow additional specified days on which businesses are permitted to hang a temporary sign or banner without needing an administrative permit. These days would be centered around holidays and are common for businesses to have sales or other promotions which they may wish to hang banners and signs for. These include Valentine's Day, Easter, Memorial Day, 4th of July, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas and New Year's. The proposed changes are modeled after the city of Clovis and their sign ordinance. Digital signs. Current interpretation of the municipal code is that digital signs such as screens shall not display rolling photos or videos and are not permitted throughout the city as they are considered animated. The ad hoc committee recommends to keep this interpretation and to clarify in the code. Staff has updated the definition of animated sign to include digital signage so that this is clear that these are not permitted by the city ordinance. Lastly, we have added a few new definitions and we've reorganized this chapter. In order to best incorporate the recommendations of the ad hoc committee, staff is recommending repealing and replacing the entire chapter 17.20 of the Hollister Municipal Code. This allows for adjustments of the tables which are currently in the code and can be confusing for staff and the public to read, and the creation of a mixed-use zoning district and subsequent downtown mixed-use zoning district subsection which can address the specific changes which were requested by the ad hoc committee. Additionally, definitions were added for promotional signs, grand opening, holiday promotional signs, and neon, and the definition for animated signs was updated to clarify that animated signs include digital signs, which are to remain prohibited. No other changes to the existing regulations were made, and all current codes have been incorporated into the proposed clarified chapter. And with that, staff recommends to the City of Hollister's Planning Commission to review the request, receive all written and oral testimony regarding the proposal, and make the following motion. Adopt a resolution recommending to the City Council the adoption of an ordinance repealing and replacing Chapter 1720, Signs, Title 17, Zoning of the Hollister Municipal Code. Are there any questions for staff?
I don't have a question, just a comment. I really enjoyed being on the ad hoc committee for this, talking to the different business owners and then just the general people that showed up. I think we had a really good conversation to clarify a lot of these and come up with a good idea for everybody involved, not just the business owners, but for the pedestrians and for people who are driving, people who are walking. And I feel like we did a really good job having this discussion to make sure it's safe and effective for businesses as well.
I also wanted to thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Also, Commissioner Henderson was served on that ad hoc committee. Is that correct? Is this going to go through a public hearing, and then I'll express my opinions?
Yeah, I'm going to open it up if there's no other
Okay.
questions for staff.
I do have a question. So on the holiday promotional sign slide, For the holidays that are now going to, or the proposed holidays that are now going to be kind of like, those are in addition to to what was in the current code, are there specific dates where they are allowed to have them so that they don't do it so early, but they don't leave them on way too long?
Right, yes. So the way that it's written, it's, so we have the temporary sign section, which remained the same, and that talks about the admin permits, but then we've added this section to the exempt sign section. So that means they're exempt from receiving a permit. And it's, it says like Valentine's Day and the like 9 previous days, Easter and the 9 previous days, Memorial Day and the 9 previous days, and then things, all of them are that holiday and previous days. So code enforcement wouldn't be enforcing any banners during those specific days each year. And then for Thanksgiving, we have previous days as well as the following up until the next Tuesday, I believe. So like the 5 days after Thanksgiving, which gives Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, all those kind of little holidays that happen, Cyber Monday after Thanksgiving. So those are incorporated. So it's that chunk is probably a good 16 to 17 days surrounding the holiday.
And in regards to the grand openings?
You would be able to get an administrative permit for 20 days. It would just, this allows them to not have to, if they want to have a Black Friday sale, they can hang a banner and not have to deal with the process of getting an admin permit for those days. And if they're having a grand opening, they can still come in, get 20 days. Or we also allow you to pull all 4 of those at once or pull 2 at once for the calendar year, so you can get 40 or 80 or 60 days all at once if you wanted to have a grand opening or a special sale that doesn't go around the holidays.
Great, thank you. Any other questions for staff? If there's no other questions for staff, we'll go ahead and open up the public hearing at 7:03. Any speaker cards on this item?
No speaker cards.
Okay, great, thank you. Make sure that the legal team takes note that we're going to close the public hearing at 7:03.
Danny, please.
I just want to say is hip, hip, hooray for neon signs. I've been an advocate for neon signs for I don't know how many years. That went on deaf ears there for a while, and thank you so much. Now, I mean, it can be tastefully done. It can help brighten up the downtown, and especially for, you know, like, I remember this jazz club I used to go to in San Francisco, Roland's, and it had a wonderful neon sign, Roland's Jazz Club. I just wish we could have something like that. So, I mean, hopefully, you know, we'll see shop owners and maybe a nightclub open up and follow through, and we'll see if, as you know, what that certainly does to help brighten up the downtown. So, thanks a lot, Carrie, again, for that. I really appreciate that.
I was just going to ask, in regards to sitting on that ad hoc committee for the signs, what's the general consensus from the businesses in regards to the
They were
sign?
in favor. Many of them were in favor. We had a discussion about the size. You know, I think some of them wanted to have a little bit more size-wise versus the 25% that we kind of agreed on, just because we don't want your whole window lighting up the whole street. And we want to keep it tasteful, but still bright, still, you know, noticeable, but not overpowering where it's taking away from the business and taking away from other businesses. And we came to a consensus, and we had a couple business owners, and they were okay with what we decided. They're like, oh, we like this idea. This is a good amount. When we were first discussing it, we were kind of, how big are we going to go? How small are we going to go? Is it going to be something tiny, or can we, you know, we settled on the 25%, which I think is a good amount, size-wise for, you know, inside the window. And I think they were all
You
okay
know,
with it.
I got the wheels turning here, and there's been some advancements in sign technology. And so there is an LED type strip light that looks exactly like neon. I'm sure that would be acceptable. I mean, you can't tell the difference.
Yes, it would be included in the neon sign
Yeah.
definition.
You could-
Neon type kind of style is,
Right.
I think, going to be the interpretation
And I
of
think
the
that's what we
definition.
discussed too.
Yeah.
We were talking about those type of lights as well being part of that.
It
During
can
that.
create a very artistic calligraphy of
Yeah.
all kinds of different expressions. It's
Right.
just can be very beautiful.
And If I may add one thing, just to clarify on the holiday promotional signs while I'm thinking about it that we didn't state, this will be a citywide exemption on holiday promotional signs. It's not specific to downtown.
Great, thank you. And again, thank you, Commissioner Johnson, for serving on that committee. Okay, if there's no other comments or discussion, we will, or what is the pleasure of the commission on this item?
I make a motion to adopt resolution 2020-4.
Correct.
Got that now. I finally figured it out. It took me a year, but I figured it out. To the City Council for the adoption of the ordinance repealing and replacing Chapter 17.20 signs of Title 17 zoning of the Hollister Municipal Code.
Thank you for the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. That is done for the items on the agenda and regarding, it's moving on to new business. Any new business to?
I do have just really quickly, and you guys might have seen, and we do have a couple in the lobby. We updated the tentative dates, well, the definite dates for the Planning Commission for the 2020 year. They're all the fourth Thursday of the month, excluding November and December, which are on the third Thursday of the month due to Thanksgiving and Christmas. And then they are tentative dates for submittals and DRCs and our other deadlines. So if you receive them, we'll send them out digitally and we'll get them up on our website. But that's all for new business as far as I'm concerned.
Great, thank you. Any other new business?
Yeah, I wanted to just talk about something just quickly, and I think it falls under new business. So yesterday, I got a call from someone in the media asking to be, if they could interview me. Unfortunately, I was working when they called, and I needed to call them back before 4, and I didn't hear the message until like 9 o'clock at night. So I didn't call them back, but I just started thinking about it and was wondering whether there are any guidelines around, commissioners talking to the media, any limitations to that that I should know about. I just realized that it had never occurred to me that I might get contacted by a TV station, and in fact I did. So is there anything?
I'm not an attorney, but I believe that you, as a you're an appointed public officer, and if someone from the media contacts you, you can definitely talk to them, I believe.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I assume that too.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if there aren't any.
It's a good question.
Like, is there a code of conduct? Is there a?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just curious. It had never occurred to me that
Yeah.
there might be something like that. And I started thinking about that maybe there is, and I'm not aware of it.
We can look into that, but I do believe that as a commissioner for the Planning Commission, correct me if I'm wrong, Abraham, I could be wrong, but the media can reach out to you and talk to you. I think they do that in the county sometimes. The San Benito County Planning Commissioners, some of them may be interviewed once in a while. So, yeah.
No, if the interview is something that is on the item that's on the agenda that hasn't been discussed or voted on, and a commissioner gives favor or dislike to it before that it's voted on, would they then need to recuse themselves from voting because they've already showed?
It probably wouldn't be a good idea to do that before the actual hearing takes place or the meeting, but I could be wrong. I'll need to talk to Mr. Epperson about that, but it's a good question.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Could we get some information before next meeting? And only because I believe that was part of what they were calling about, in addition to some other things that I was just going to refer to staff because I was sure I couldn't answer. But it was yesterday when they called, and I think it was anticipation of today. So that's a really good question and something that I would certainly like to clarify.
sure.
I have not contacted them because I wanted to raise it here first, and I will be contacting them just to let them know, in the future, give me a little bit more notice, because they call at 1 o'clock and they need me to call them at 4. And then also, to, if they want to ask me any questions, I can answer it at that time.
We will definitely talk to our attorney and provide you a oral update on that next month.
Okay?
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great question. Any other items for new business? How about anything for old business?
I just want to thank the staff for arranging our attendance at the conference coming up in March. I appreciate you getting on it, and so that we can attend this year. I'm really looking forward to it. So I just want to thank you for that.
Are you, who's attending?
I am.
I am.
Nice.
Great.
I'm excited. I'm excited to know more.
Commissioner
I'm
Henderson will be
actually
attending
going
as
for my
well.
Anniversary, so
Oh.
if I took a.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
Oh,
I
yeah.
guess you know. Unfortunately, I'll be in Hawaii. Yeah, but I would like to request, Roxanne and Carrie, if you'd be so kind to share whatever literature and whatever things that you've learned from that.
Absolutely.
And anything you can email me. I
Is
mean,
it,
because I would just,
is it possible that
it's
the
bittersweet.
the
for
five
me.
of us can have like a
Workshop?
a workshop, yeah,
Yeah.
after that meeting, kind of share what you guys.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. We can arrange that. Also, too, with some of these conferences, they will post things online after. So if there was something in particular that anybody wanted to share, we'd be able to pull
Reference
up
it.
those trainings virtually.
Good stuff.
And then I'll just offer
Yeah.
this to you two that you won't be attending. If you look at the program, and if there's a particular topic that you're really interested in, then I think we can check to make sure that at least one of us attends that
Mhm.
workshop, so that we can bring back some information. I mean, I'm willing to do that. I'm
Yeah,
sure
that's-
Carrie would be too.
Actually, I do have a topic that I'd like you guys to bring back some information on, and what you've learned is on land use, the applicant, and what entitlements he has based on land use. If it's compatible with, and what as our role as a commission, based on a project that is compatible to the land use, what our role is and what options we have. I mean, I've read, there's one thing you can deny, but is it right to deny an application that is compatible to the land use? Or can you look at it and add conditions or try to help guide that application to the benefit of the community in general?
Good question.
Really great questions.
That was absolutely, that's one thing that's been on my mind that I'm hoping to really get into.
Really, I'd
so,
like to see what they say about that.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Okay, any other old business? All right, moving on to planning department reports. Any reports from the planning department?
Did the planners want to give a quick update on our general plan process last meeting?
You're asking
Yeah.
that?
So
It's nice for someone else to ask about that.
we will be taking the contract to the council February 3rd. So we're hoping that it will pass and we'll hear some good news and we'll be able to get started fairly quickly.
Very nice.
Thank you, Brian.
I'll tell you, the past 3 months, the planners have had a lot on their plate, and they've done a lot. And this was a very tough process to go through, just with being understaffed, and they've really rose to the occasion to step up and help out. And we're looking forward to starting that process. They've done a really great job presenting, going through the process of vetting and presenting to the council next month.
How
So,
many candidates did you have in that process?
3.
There were 3 firms, EMC Planning Group, Placeworks, and then Kimley Horn.
May I ask who the winning applicant is that you're presenting to the city council?
So we have selected Placeworks, and for the traffic portion of it, we will be using Kimley Horn.
Okay.
Great. Any planning commission reports? Okay. What I would like to say is, at least for me, 2019 seemed like it was a very busy year. You guys seemed to do it without you made it look easy. I don't know that it was for you guys, but you definitely made it look easy. And I'm looking forward to working with you all for 2020. So thank you for all the hard work that you do, and putting the packet together and working with the applicants, and just, it seems like you make it a pretty easy for us. So we appreciate it, or I appreciate it.
Yeah, and
I do too.
I would like to, ditto, and also just wanna appreciate your efforts to get us the packets, cause I was the one that was always the one getting them to us on Fridays. I'm just really grateful that you did that. I appreciate all the hard work that you did to make that happen, so thank you.
All right. Well, next meeting's Thursday, February 27th, 6 p.m. We will see you guys there. And with that, we will make a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We'll see you next time.